Hey, shalom, shalom. About to get started in just 1 second. Shalom, shalom. Back on the highways and hedges. So shalom, shalom, shalom. About to get started. Bear me 1 second. All right. About to get started. Just 1 second. Bear with me. Shalom to whoever hopping on. Shalom, shalom. Peace be with you. All right. Shalom. Oh, this is not popular. Okay, about to get started. Bear with me. All right. Okay. I'm gonna face the east. Come on now. There we go. All right, beautiful. All right, I'm gonna face the east, and I'm gonna give all praises and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Raha, Hodash. Honors be to the elect elders of the nation of Israel that do labor and teach the truth with all truth and in sincerity. Shalom to all you Akim, you hopeful elect on the highway and hedges, making your body a living sacrifice, according to Romans 12 and verse 1. All right, shalom to sincere believers, which consist of men and women. Shalom, Brakatham, and Abababal. Destruction be unto Babal, Babylon the Great. All right, which is the land of the captivity for you so-called Negroes, Native Americans, and Hispanics. All right, which was one big ass prison sentence for for the nation of Israel. Okay, for our disobedience unto Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. But in these last days, all right, ultimately the Most High has brought what a remnant, okay, to what? Go on the highways and the hedges, streets teach, okay, and tells people to do what? Repent or perish, all right, for the kingdom is at hand, and also to tell these other nations of their judgment, okay, and these other nations' judgment is ultimately to be what, to be a slave to the nation of Israel, starting off with the elect, all right, so about to get started in just 1 second, so bear with me, Lord's will, all right. And shalom to the beloved brother Yahweh, shalom alot, brakatham to you and your household. Shalom to Anthony Reyes. Hey, shalom means peace be with you, so shalom. Okay, about to get started in just 1 second. Okay. All right, so I'm starting with the book of Isaiah, chapter 55, and verse 1. May flip back and forth with the NLT as well, so bear with me 1 second. Okay, about to kick it off. Right in the NLT as well. Shalom to whoever hopping on. Shalom to all the Malachium, all right, and Akwath as well. Okay, so this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 55, and once again from the top. And it reads, "Oh, everyone that thirsted it, come you to the waters, and he that have no money, come you buy and eat." All right, when we go to that word buy, it means to ultimately to obtain this truth. Okay, we go to the meaning of the word buy, just the common, just type it in on Google, whatever. It goes to what to ultimately to obtain. All right, so come to obtain the truth. The truth is free. You got brothers preaching all types of times, all right, throughout different coasts, east, west, south, north, all right, and also to different regions. Okay, so you can ultimately tap in to different brothers at all types of times, all right, and ultimately to learn and obtain this truth. A shalom to the blood brother Nathan, shadow of thy wing, shalom malak, brakathum to you and your household. To Raleigh, I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Keep it going. You're doing great. Hey, ultimately, I'll take that. You know, through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shah the water. That means thank you. All right. Ultimately, you know, out here to do what? You know, do the will of the Most High. To Jimmy Dario, hi Tupac. Okay, whatever. All right. So back to Isaiah 55 and verse 1. Is anyone thirsty? Come and drink. Okay, and ultimately come and drink goes into what? Because we was what? Thirsty. All of us. Because for 350 years, when you go to that times and dividing of times claim. time and dividing of times, they ultimately go to what? 350 years. 350 years that we was without the knowledge and understanding of who we were as a people. So from Elder Bivens from 1969, okay, ultimately to really 2007, okay, through the internet, which was likened to what the unicorn prophetic, you know, in the prophecies. All right, we see how the truth has been what? Made global. So let me grab this. Because it's truth, say come and drink. So this is the book of John, chapter 7. And it reads, he that believeth on me, all red lettering. This is Yahweh Shai speaking, all right, who they arrogantly call Jesus. All right, but this is Yahweh Shai in red lettering. He that believeth on me, as the scripture have said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living waters, rivers of living waters. Now, ultimately, why? Because now you have been made alive. All right, now you have been what? Revived, quickened, been restored back to knowing who you are, being restored back to, you know, knowing that you are an Israelite from your different respective tribes. See, I'll grab one more. It's a few to come to mind. Bear with me. Slaki, bear with me 1 second. Okay. Let's see, bear with me. It should be John. This is the book of John 4 and verse 13. And also 14 is the point. Yahweh shall answer and said unto her, whoso drinketh of this water shall thirst again. That's going to what the woman at the well. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst again. Meaning what? You shall never be, you know, dried up again. You shall never not know who you are. You're going to be what? Remain steadfast, all right, in this truth to the elect. But whosoever shall drink of the water thou shalt give him shall never thirst again. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life. Because when you're coming back to this wisdom and not to understand it through the will of Yahweh by Shem Shai, now you're on the path of what? Of everlasting life, being rewarded. All right. Second Hedges, chapter 6. Bear with me 1 second. Second Hedges, chapter 6, and let's start verse 27. For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. And how is that happening? Okay, by the men on the highways and hedges. All right, telling about the downfall of America, Babylon the Great, telling you who is your enemy, the top enemy, being Esau, Edom, so on, so on. All right. For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. And we see more and more how you got, you know, you common Jakes, you common Israelites, you know, acknowledging of who they are. All right, acknowledging that they do have an enemy. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome. And we see how this faith is what? Flourishing. Okay, once again, more and more, you know, you see more and more Jake standing up. Okay, you got brothers all, you know, all over preaching this word. All right, as I just said, throughout different times, you know, you got brothers in the UK, you got brothers in Australia, you got brothers in Paris, so on, so on. You got brothers, you know, on the West Coast, the East Coast, the South, the North, you know, so on, so on. So the truth has been what made global. All right, it's flourishing. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome. Corruption shall be overcome. And the truth, which have been so long without fruit, shall be declared. And the truth that have been so long without fruit shall be declared. All right, in these last days. Okay. So back to the book of Isaiah, chapter 55. And let's start with verse 2. All right, Isaiah chapter 55 and verse 2. And wherefore do you spend money for that which is not bread? All right, so ultimately you obtain everything else that is not going to sustain you. All right, notice bread, so Jake loves to go in all types of directions, all types of religion. When I say Jeff, to see my Israel, okay? They love to get all types of degrees. But ultimately, coming back to who they truly are, they refuse to have it. Wherefore do you spend money for that which is not bread, and your labor for that which satisfieth not? Hearken diligently unto me, and eat you that which is good, and let your soul delight itself in fat. I'm reading the NLT. Why spend your money on food that does not give you strength? All right. Why pay for food that does you no good? Listen to me, and you will eat that is good. What is good, you will enjoy the finest food. Okay, now this comes to mind. Bear with me 1 second. Because once again, our people will acknowledge everything else. All types of religion. They love to obtain everything of this world. And we understand what the fashion of this world is going to pass away. Bear with me 1 second. All right, this is the book of 2nd Hedges, Sirach, chapter 19, straight to the point. And verse 22. The knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom. Because we got to understand that this bread, all right, wine, and all of this, as I'm going to get into through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shah, Lord's will, it all represents what? Gaining like wisdom and knowledge. Okay? So Sirach 19 and 22, the knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom, neither at any time the counsel of sinners prudence. The knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom. So gaining the things of this world is ultimately, not true wisdom. All right. Neither at any time the counsel of sinners prudence. All right. So back to the book of Isaiah chapter 55 in verse 2. I'm reading NLT once again. Why spend your money on food that does not give you strength? Why pay for food that does you no good? That's a question that's being asked. All right. Listen to me, and you will eat what is good. You will enjoy the finest food. All right. Because we go to the book of John chapter 6, as I'm going to get. All right. Ultimately, that meaning what? Devour the truth. Eat the whole roll. In the book of Ezekiel chapter 3. All right. Where the Most High, told Ezekiel to eat this roll. All right. And pretty much go out there and teach. All right. That's what we ultimately to do, to devour the truth. All right, and go out there and tell people what is what. Hey, Shalom to hope, grace, and mercy to the brother Khalaf. Shalom, Yahweh Shem Al Shah, Barak Thumb to you and your household, King. Let's go to the book of John chapter 6. Okay. Let's go to the book of John chapter 6. God's scripture says, man shall not live off bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of the Most High. So let's go to the book of John 6, and let's start at verse 60, but verse 63 is the point. Let's put it in perspective. Let me start with this. Woo. You know what? I'll start at verse 53. So I start all up. Yep. John chapter 5, John chapter 6, and verse 53. Let's start verse 52. The Jews therefore strove among themselves. John 6 and 52. The Jews therefore strove among themselves, said, how can this man give us his flesh to eat? All right, because ultimately, the disciples, all right, was ultimately still in a simple mindset, all right? At that time, it's not till around Luke, or was it 24 and 44 and 45 that the Most High gave them what the Holy Spirit, okay? For them to understand all things. 53, then Yahushua said unto them, red lettering, verily, verily, I say unto you, except you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you have no life in you, all right? Unless you are abiding in the body of Yahweh Yahushua, ultimately you are dead. He that wandered out of the way of the understanding, all right, remain in the congregation of the dead. That should be the book of Proverbs 21, verse 16. Then Yahushua said unto them, verily, verily, I say unto you, except you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you have no life in you. Whoso eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood have eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. All right. So them that will abide in the body of Yahushua. Okay. So we eat so during the Passover, all right, in the Feast of Unleavened, that's ultimately, remembering, Yahweh Yahushua. Okay. That lamb, Yahushua is called what? The lamb. We drink the red wine. That represents what? The blood of Yahushua. Okay. Because the Most High, when he speaks in what? Parables, dark sayings, similitudes. All right. Not literal, you go drink some lamb's blood, but ultimately, the red wine and the lamb, man. Okay. For my flesh is meat indeed, and my blood is drink indeed. He that eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood dwelleth in me, and I in him. As the living Father hath sent me, and I live by the Father, so he that eateth me, even he shall live by me. All right. Let me grab this. I quoted it a few times. Grab it real swift. All right, because ultimately, if you're trying to come up some other way, all right, call on some other name, that's ultimately is going to be a detriment unto you. All right, you got to come, and abide in Yahweh Yahushua. Be a part of what? Of the body. You can't make yourself a part of the body. Ultimately, ultimately, you have to be what? Chosen. Straight to the point. Straight to the point. 1 Corinthians 12 and verse 12. 1 Corinthians 12 and 12. For as the body is one and have many members, and all the members of that one body, being many, are one body, so also is Hamashiach. Let's get down to 27. Now you are the body of Hamashiach, and members in particular. Speaking about what? The believers. All right? That's teachers. All right? That's sincere believers, men and women, right? Being a part of the body. All right? Starting out with the elect 144,000 on down. Okay? Verse 58. This is that bread which come down from heaven. Not as your fathers did eat manna and are dead. He that eat of this bread shall live forever. All right, because ultimately, once again, this this word abides. All right, when you abide in this word, it keeps you what? Alive, makes you what? Revived. All right, ultimately, you're gonna be what? On the path to receiving what? In everlasting, being in salvation. Okay. Skip down, verse 60. Many therefore of the disciples, when they had heard this, said, this is an hard saying. They said, this is an hard saying. Who can hear it? Yahushua knew in himself that his disciples murder at it. He had unto them, doth this offend you? What, and if you shall see the Son of Man ascend up where he was before? Verse 3 is the point. It is the spirit that quickeneth. The flesh profited nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. All right. So this word, this is the true bread. That manna. Okay. This is ultimately, what makes you what? Revive, makes you what? Quicken. I'll read it again. It is the spirit that quickening. The flesh profited nothing. The words that I speak unto you, They are spirit and they are life. And they are life. All right? Because everything else, as we, as I just grabbed in the book of Isaiah 55 and Isaiah 55 and verse 2, okay? It said, why spend your money on food that does not give you strength? So ultimately obtaining some other way is not ultimately the way that's going to lead to what? Everlasting salvation. All right? It's falsehood. It's a thing of vanity, meaning nothing. Coming through the way of Yahweh Yahushua, abiding in the body of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Okay? As I just grabbed in the book of John, chapter 6, that blood, the lamb, that's, that all represents what? Yahweh Shai. All right, so doing the will of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, all right, taking up that word is ultimately going to lead to what? In everlasting salvation, man. All right, being that first fruits to be saved. Okay? Hey, Shalom. Hey, Shalom to the beloved brother, Kabashana. Hey, Shalom Malak, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, Brakathon, you and your household. Shalom to the big bro, the beloved big bro, Ariel. Shalom, Brakathon to you and your household. Shalom to the sis, the Akwath, Rebecca, Ophir. Shalom, Brakathon to you and your household. Shalom. Okay, so back to the book of Isaiah chapter 55 and verse 3 in the NLT. It say, come to me with your ears wide open. All right, and the only one that can make your ears to be able to hear, all right, ultimately is who? Yahweh Yahushua. Because many of our people are not able to hear it. Not literal that they are what, deaf or they can't see, but the Most High has what spiritually blinded them and spiritually made them deaf of hearing. So let me grab this real swift. Isaiah chapter 6. Let's start with verse 9. And it reads, and he said, go and tell this people, hear you indeed, but understand not. And see you indeed, but perceive not. All right, many people cannot understand or see it, all right, or comprehend it. Ultimately, because it's the will of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua to blind them for whatever reason, all right? Because, it's all the will of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Can't make yourself, of that chosen. Can't make yourself to hear it, okay? Make the heart of this people fat and make their ears heavy. Okay, and when you make something fat or make their ears heavy, ultimately this word is not able to penetrate within their spirit. It just bounces right off of them, right? And shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes. Okay, so ultimately you can see, but this is all what spiritually. Once again, the Most High speaks of what? Dark sayings, parables, and similitudes. So it's like a blind person, that ultimately cannot see. A lot of our people are what? Spiritually blinded. All right, not able to see what's going on. All right, that's why it's what it said seals onto them. Okay, and shut their eyes, let them see with their eyes and hear with their ears. A lot of people cannot what? Comprehend. They cannot comprehend what the men on the highways and the hedges, all right, street teaching is saying. Once again, it bounces right off of them. And understand with their heart and convert. Convert means to what? Return. And be healed, all right, healed from what? All your infirmities. Okay, start off with what? Your spirit. Okay, because ultimately all our spirits has been what? Broken. Okay, but now we've been what? Healed by coming back to this wisdom and knowledge, understanding. Healed by coming back to our heritage, the true names of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. See what else can get. Isaiah 55 and verse 3 from the top again in the NLT. Come to me with your ears wide open. See if I can grab this. Hold on, bear me 1 second. Bear me 1 second, Salaki. Salakia. It's all good. I'm going to drop that. All right. So Isaiah 55 and verse 3, once again, in NLT. Then I'm going to grab it. All right, and it reads, come to me with your ears wide open, Listen and you will find life. All right, let's go to the book of Revelation, chapter 1 and verse 3. All right, to your ears wide open, being able to perceive what's going on. And the only way is that is the Most High had to be working with you. Revelation 1 and verse 3. Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy. All right, they hear the words of this prophecy, be able to understand, be able to comprehend of what's going on. Okay? Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. And the only one that can keep those things which are written therein, you have to be chosen. Okay? When you see someone is taking the Bible, right, and misusing it, ultimately, why? Because, you know, from looks, unless the Most High allows them to, you know, come back the right way and repent from it, ultimately, because they have not been what chosen. All right, that's what it, you know, that's what it comes down to at the end of the day, man. You have to be what chosen. You have to be a part of that number. All right. So Isaiah 55, I will make an, and it reads, listen and will find life. I will make an everlasting covenant with you. I will give you the unfailing love I promised to David. So how in the world can any other nation ultimately come back to something that you were never part of? You know, these other heathens love to say convert, convert, convert. It's not hard to understand what the word convert means. Convert literally means to what? Return. You cannot return to something that you never was a part of to begin with. All right? That is, you know, that's all the way stupid. That's bugged out. That's loony. That's wacky. How can you return to something that you never was a part of? That makes zero sense. He said, I will make an everlasting covenant with you. Okay? If the Most High made a covenant with Israel before, he's going to do it all over again. All right? So let's grab this. Bear me 1 second. Let's go straight to it. All right, and that covenant just means what? An agreement. Straight to the point. I was Hebrews 6, Hebrews 8. Let's start verse 7. Let's read on down. All right, because covenant is coming back to the nation of Israel, starting off with the elect. For if that first covenant had been faultless, then sound, no place had been sought for the second. For finding fault with them, he said, behold, the days come, said the idle one Yahweh, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. All right, all 12 tribes. Okay. So, and this is the New Testament, right? That they love to say. So ultimately, nothing has changed. By trying to run a Paul writing and say that Paul was dealing with actual heathens is off. All right. Ultimately, you don't understand what's going on. A lot of our people became like unto the heathens. A lot of our people became, like the Greeks, not literal, but that they was in the same manner. All right, and pretty much obtained the customs of the Greeks. So they was called what? Greek. Okay. When we go to our history, Israel always went off, and what did the Most High always do? Was scatter. All right. Hebrews 8 and verse 9. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt. So once again, this is proving that this is not talking about any other nation. The Most High delivered his people out of the land of Egypt. And Egypt all over again, if you can receive it, is Babylon the Great, aka America. Revelation 11 and verse 8. All right, Egypt today represents what? Bondage. All right, that's all it represents is bondage. And a lot of America has a lot of similarities to Egypt, with the Mississippi River, the Nile, was the Nile River. Then you got the city in Memphis. All right, there was a city in there was a Memphis in in the land of Egypt, right? So there's a lot of similarities with Egypt and America today. It's not by coincidence either. All right, it's all because it's the will of the Most High. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, said the Yahweh. All right, so all of us went off, man. Okay, you had Apostle Paul, who's speaking right here, okay, ultimately said what? He's the chief of sinners. So all of us went off. But now that the Most High is going to do what? He's going to have it where we're going to be programmed to be what? Righteous. So this prove again that we are not in the new covenant. All right, I'm going to say it again. We are not in the new covenant. Okay? So anyone that teaching that is bugged the hell out. The fact that you still out here teaching, street teaching highways and hedges, that proves that, you know, we are not in the new covenant. Because it says that what we should not what teach our neighbors anymore. All right, for all Israel is going to know the Most High. Okay? Hey, shalom to the blood brother Hanani, shalom, malak, brakathum to your household, King, shalom. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, said the Yahweh. So this is the Most High showing you once again that there is a separation. That's not what all inclusive. Keep saying the house of Israel. Keep saying Israel, Israel, Israel. When you read his Bible, he's addressing Israelites. Now, does other nations play their part? Absolutely. Because other nations had a role to do, which ultimately the Most High used the nations to pretty much, you know, whoop us. But then the Most High is going to flip it right side up for the nation to be right back where they belong, is to be what? Servants, handmaids. Out of those days, said Yahweh, I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts. Literally being programmed. Okay, just to sum it up, make it simple. Just being what? Programmed to be what? Righteous. All right, to not go off. I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their heart. So that's the Most High what? Doubling down on it. When you go to the word heart, it just means what? Your mind. And I will be to them a power, and they shall be to me a people. Okay, because ultimately, when we go off, the Most High does what? He divorces us. Okay, meaning that he takes what? Once again, he takes this knowledge and understanding from us. Matter of fact, I'm gonna prove it real quick. In the book of Proverbs, bear with me 1 second. Proverbs 21 in verse 16. Okay, so the Most High, you know, divorces us, put us away. We, you know, we don't, we ultimately are not in our right state of mind. Okay, now right here in Babylon the Great, aka America, we did not have the names of the Most High, right? We didn't know who we were. Okay, so this is, you know, really the worst captivity of all of them. Proverbs 21 and verse 16, the man that wandered out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. So what? So you was likened to what? A dead person. Okay, but once again, ultimately we have been what? Revived all over again by taking heed unto the word, by, you know, I'm gonna grab it here, I'm gonna run it back. I don't want to butcher it. Read John 6 and 63 once again. Excuse me. John 6 and verse 63, red lettering. This is how Shai speaking. It is the spirit, damn. It is the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profited nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. So it's not until, you know, you come back to this, you know, come back to the word that the Most High allows you to, you know, come back to, which ultimately quicken, you know, being what? Revived, all right, being restored, all right. Excuse me. Back to the book of Isaiah 55. Excuse me, bear with me 1 second. Grab some water. All right, it's the book of Isaiah, chapter 55. Grab an NLT as well. Yep, Isaiah 55 and verse 4. And it reads, see how I use him to display my power among the peoples. I made him a leader among the nations. All right, I'm reading KJV. And it reads, behold, I have given him for a witness Behold, I gave him for a witness to the people, a leader and commander to the people. Behold, thou shalt call a nation that thou knowest not, and nation that knew not thee shall run unto thee, because of Yahweh thy power, and for the Holy One of Israel, for he hath glorified thee, which is spearheaded by who? Yahweh Shai. All right. It say in the NLT, you also will command nations you do not know, and peoples unknown to you will come running to obey. So this is what's coming. Because I, the Yahweh, your power, the Holy One of Israel, have made you glorious. So what? There's a fame that's coming. All right, in the book of Zephaniah 3 and verse 18, to the ones that was laboring, to the ones that made a bodies as a living sacrifice, according to Romans 12 and verse 1. Okay. Seek the Yahweh while you can find him. Call on him now while he is near. And how do you do that? Okay, by listening to the men on the highways and the hedges. They're doing what what they call street teaching. Okay, because ultimately, that's the mouthpiece of the Most High. All right, the Most High has always used men since the beginning of time to do to preach his word. See if I can find that real quick. Let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 1. All right, this is the book of Luke, chapter 1 and verse 70. As he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began. All right, the prophets has been since the world began. Even when you go to the book of Genesis, chapter 3, where it says that Adam and Eve heard the voice of the Lord in the cool of the day, that was ultimately talking about what, a prophet that the Most High sent to warn Adam and Eve of where they went off. Okay, and that cool of the day, that that represents right for the Most High brings what his judgment. The same thing right now. This will be likened to what the cool of the day. Although things is popping off, right, and we see that there is a particular thing that's happening. A lot is happening. Okay, so we got to be getting close, but it's still like cool of the day because the Most High has not had his men off the highways and the hedges, and people are still able to get on the internet, listen to the videos, come out to the wherever the men of the Lord on the highways and hedges are at. So it's still like to what the cool of the day. Okay. It says since the prophets, since the world began. So real quick, let's go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 1. Right? And it reads, Proverbs 1, start verse 20, read on down for a little bit. It says, wisdom cried without. She uttered her voice in the streets. All right, street teaching, highways and hedges, crying without. Okay, we ultimately we are out here doing what? Shaking the hands. Let's go to the book of Isaiah 13 just to back that up real swift. Isaiah 13 verse 1 and also verse 2. The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see, lift you up a banner upon the high mountain. Now the banner represents the Bible. All right, the high mountain is who? It's speaking about the nation. Mountain goes into what? Government. Okay, so the top would be, so top of that is speaking about who? America, which is ruled by, Esau, Edom, really the Ish people, Amalek. All right. Upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, and that's exactly what we are doing, exalting the voice. Okay, and the words of the Most High will not go out void. In the latter of Isaiah 55. Okay, everything will be, fulfilled at its own time. Lift up you the banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand. So we go out here, pretty much telling people what is what, shaking the hand. All right, cussing out these damn devils, telling Jake about himself. All right, they're shaking the hand. Shake the hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles. All right, and the gates of the nobles is the top, the most prominent, and the most prominent. All right, in today's it would be Amalek, the Ish people. All right, not just Esau, Edom. Cause Esau, Edom typically is doing bad, man. Usually every time I come by this way, come to camp, there'd be a couple of Edomites standing with their little signs and can you spare me $5? You know what I'm saying? So Esau himself is doing bad. Okay. So, and Esau be living what? Amongst Jakes. They got a thing called what? Trailer park trash. So on, so on. So it's really talking about the top Edomites. Once again, Amalek. Let's read verse 2 again. Lift you up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles. All right. And these Ish people, they understand what's going on. All right. You know, they understand that, you know, prophecy is fulfilling itself. Okay. So when they see, you know, the men's on the highways and hedges, when they see the videos going out, when they see that we calling him, the devil, a Edomite, you're going into slavery, this place right here is going to be burned the hell up. You know, it shakes them. Although that they may brush it off, they know exactly that, you know, they know exactly that this is prophecy that's being fulfilled. Okay? Because these top Edomites, Amalek, knows exactly what's going on. All right? So Proverbs 1 in verse 21. Proverbs 1:21, she cried in the chief place of concourse, and the openings of the gates, and the city she uttered her words, saying, all right, so this ultimately going to chief place concourse, all right, to the top place. Not, you know, not in some random hide behind the scenes, right? Honest Cabana, nah, you out there on Front Street. You out there on the main line, okay? Standing 10 toes down for your Yahweh Shai, crying out, okay? How long, you simple ones, will you love simplicity? And that's what we'll be saying all the time. Hey, Jay, you still calling on JC? You still calling on what, Allah? You still calling on Buddhists? Okay, whatever, you know, religion Jake is into. Shit, you know, Jake has made, you know, their gang, Jake has made their gang their religion, man. All right, so on, so on. Hey, shalom to the blood brother, Shamgar, words of prophet, shalom, malak, brakathum, to you and your household, King, shalom. Right? So our people love to have, you know, so our people love to be in a way of wickedness, man. They're what? Wise to do evil, but to do good, they have no knowledge. Okay? That's why the Most High said that what? Cry, you know, matter of fact, I gotta grab it. I don't want to butcher it. Bear me 1 second, I'm gonna grab it. Gotta grab it as quick as possible. Yep, this is the book of Judges. Judge chapter 10, straight to the point, 13 and 14. Yet you have forsaken me and served other gods. That's why we go to the book like Jeremiah 2, Jeremiah 3, all right, many more scriptures. Those, you know, those won't come to mind. Hosea chapter 2, Hosea 1, where it says, you know, about playing the harlot. Ultimately, because we are what? Married unto, you know, we are married to the Most High, meaning what? Joined unto him. So when we go and serve, you know, so when we was out there serving other gods, right, that's ultimately like unto adultery, all right, because our husband, you know, is the Most High, all right, meaning what? Being joined. Okay, we was not commanded to go serve, you know, no other God. Now these nations, once again, could do what they want because they never had, you know, the law, the statute, and commandments. The Most High never made a covenant with them. That was only given to the nation of Israel. Starting off, it started with Abraham, Isaac, to Jacob, to, you know, the different tribes, man. So Judges 10 in verse 13, yet you have forsaken me and served other gods, wherefore I will deliver you no more. Go and cry unto the gods which you have chosen, let them deliver you in the time of your tribulation. All right, in the time of your tribulation. Okay, so, you know, there's a Jake, I'll never forget him. You know, he always comes to my mind. He was a part of some camp, you know, some Israelite camp. I forgot particularly what it was, but you know, that particular camp still calls on, you know, JC. So although he kept saying, well, I keep the law, I keep the commandments, which is, you know, fine and dandy, which you understand that, you know, laws and commandment is not going to be, you can't keep all 613 laws, which is, you know, a whole nother conversation. But he had that mindset of, what if I won't call on JC? Why is that a big deal? It's a very big deal. All right, because it, you know, that shows that you have not been what? Reborn. All right, because we go to the book of Proverbs 18 and verse 10, the righteous, you know, run unto his name. JC is not his name. JC name only been around since the Renaissance. I want to say that J came in the 50. I don't want to misquote it. I'm gonna grab it real quick. I don't want to misquote it. Wait 1 second. Yep. So the letter J, it says the letter J was added to the English alphabet in 1524. In 1524. All right, so it's only been around for about what? Roughly 500 years, man. So it has not been around that long. Okay? So that's like half a day for the Most High. Because we understand 1,000 years for the Most High is like a day. I mean, it's like 1,000 years for us is a day for the Most High. So that only been a day for, half a day for the Most High. So that could not be his name. All right? So back to the book of Proverbs 1 and verse 22. How long, you simple ones, will you love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. All right, that's a question that's being asked. How long are you going to be in that simple mindset? How long you going to continue, as I just grabbed in the book of Judges 10, 13, and 14, to call on them other names? All right, but since you love it, go ahead and call on it. See what them names save you. How long you continue to believe in America that's going to be destroyed? All right, and it's not hard to see. Okay, Donald Trump is not playing. Donald Trump is in a mindset of pretty much, tearing this place up. Okay, Donald Trump got a mindset of, I seen the other day, was a Sunday or Monday, that he's trying to revive that, he's trying to rebuild that prison, all right, in San Francisco. I forgot the name of it. I think it's called Electra. I don't want to misquote it. All right, but it's in San Francisco, in the Bay Area, man. All right, so so ultimately his mindset is to do what? Is to bring hell, with more hell. All right, continue to pile it up. Verse 23, turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you. All right, ultimately the Most High will open up your minds. All right, to be able to receive what's going on. Wait 1 second, grab this. Luke 24 and verse 45. Then open he their understanding, that they might understand the scriptures. So this is a person that is truly coming back to seek the Most High, and in truth and in sincerity. Okay, if the Most High see that what you have a sincere heart, all right, broken and contrite heart, the Most High will not reject, right? So when you come back, seeking the Most High with a broken and contrite heart, then the Most High can work with that. Okay, you cannot work with a proud spirit, a spirit that loves contention. Okay, that's why you see many men coming to this faith, come to this ministry. They may be around 10, 5, 15 years. Okay, but ultimately, eventually, the Most High have it where they start, withering away. Why? Because there was something about them that the Most High did not, it was something about that the Most High found was wicked. All right, as it says, wicked should not dwell with a malicious soul. Right? See, we'll grab a little bit more. Verse 25. But you have set at naught. Verse 24. Because I have called and you refused. I have stretched out my hand and no man regarded. All right. And how did the Most High do that? By sending a select people, all right, a select group of men to go out there and teach the correct doctrine according to the precepts. Once again, as I grabbed in the book of Luke, chapter 1 and verse 70, the prophet has been since the world began. All right. So that's how the Most High has spoken unto his people. All right. And also to the other nations as well. Okay. Matter of fact, I got to grab that. Hold on. Bear me 1 second. It comes to mind. I'm going to grab this. Bear me 1 second. Salaki. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 36. Let me start with just a tad bit. All right, Ezekiel chapter 36, straight to the point. Salaki, where's that at? Salaki. Where's that at? So like, bear with me 1 second. Should be Jeremiah. Yep. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah. Yep. It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 1. All right, because ultimately, we are a prophet unto the nations. In verse 4, then the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before that I came this forth out of the womb, ultimately you was already chosen right? In the spiritual heavens, man, in the spiritual realm. Okay, that's why it says in the book of Ephesians 1, 4. All right, you told me before the foundation of the earth. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb. Who's this? Continuing on. Before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. So the Most High, what made you holy, made you separate, and ordained thee a prophet unto the nations, not to just our nation only, to the nation of Israel, but once again to the nation, to the other 17 nations, to tell them where they belong as well. All right. So let's read Proverbs 1, put it in perspective again. Proverbs 1:24, because I have called and you refused. I have stretched out my hand and no man regarded. All right, and the Most High stretched out his hand. That ultimately is him showing what? Showing some mercy. All right. Once again, giving you time, just grace period to get yourself together. All right, showing you favor right before he bring what? Heavy judgment. So this is the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 36, verse 15. In the Yahweh power of their fathers sent to them by his messengers. All right, and that word messenger could be flipped to angel as well. So you say angel, messenger. By his messengers rise up betimes and sending, because he had compassion on his people. That's the Most High stretching out his hand. Okay, when you see the men on the Lord on the highways and the hedges, that's ultimately the Most High showing what? Mercy. Okay, to give yourselves time to get right during this grace period. And sending because he had compassion on his people and on his dwelling place. So the Most High has what? Compassion. All right, even by the heavy judgment. All right, mass judgment that's getting ready to be hit. Okay, right here in Babylon the Great, America. That's ultimately, really mercy kill, because a lot of Israelites has to be taken down, man. Okay, they need to be taken out of their misery. There's a saying in the world that that you need to be put to death, because that's ultimately the Most High taking you out of that misery state. Our people are what messed up, man. All right, all in it, our people are messed up with all types of infirmities. Okay, their mind messed up, they bugged out, they drugged out, so on. All right. So once again, so Most High putting them to death is actually a beautiful thing, because we understand that when you die, you pretty much in rest, in comfort. Okay. Compassion on his people and on his dwelling place, but they mocked it, the messengers of Outer One Yahweh. So this them really slapping the hand of the Most High. All right. When somebody try to reach you something, all right, or try to help you out and you slap their hand. All right, so that's ultimately what they are doing, and there's a heavy penalty, for those actions, okay? Because you had time to get yourself together. You had time to listen, to write, to write down precepts, so on, continue to get yourself built up for the time that's coming. Hey, shalom. Hey, shalom to the blood brother down the aisle. Shalom, Malak. Hey, shalom, back a thumb to you and your household, King. Okay. But they mocked the messengers of Outer One Yahweh. So once again, that's like, slapping the hand of the Most High. Oh, I ain't trying to hear that. Hey, brother, maybe next time. There's no next time. For one thing, we don't know, as Scripture says, for tomorrow is not promised. Loosely paraphrasing. So once you hear it, it's time to, go ahead and start getting in shape, man. To, start running that race. Okay? Hey, get yourself right. But they mocked the messenger of Outer One Yahweh and despise his words. So when they hear the men on the highway, I don't believe that. That's not, that's not what I was taught. I got a problem. Ultimately, yeah, you got a problem with the Most High. All right, because hey, as they say in the world, don't shoot the messenger, right? Hey, we just messengers. Okay, this is all the will of the Most High. He ordained this. He said he declared the end at the beginning. In the book of Isaiah 46 and verse 10, declared the end at the beginning, meaning what? And ultimately meaning that what prophecy was going to be set. Matter of fact, I got to grab that. I got to grab it. I'm grabbing the KJV and also the NLT. All right, so once the Most High declared the end at the beginning, all right, all prophecy was ready to be shot off. Okay, let's go to the book of Isaiah 46, KJV first, and also the NLT. It says, declaring the end from the beginning and from ancient times, the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. This is all the pleasure of Yahweh. Okay. Then from Yahweh, then Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai himself said that, well, I come not do my own will, but him that sent me. All right. He had a position to fulfill as well. Okay. So let's read it in the NLT. Isaiah 46, verse 10 NLT. Only I can tell you the future before it even happens. All right. Everything I plan will come to pass, for I do whatever I wish. All right. So all the prophecies will be fulfilled. All right, at its set time. So there's no ultimately getting around it. So when so when someone despises the words of the Most High, that's you're not despising us, but you got a problem with the Most High. Hey, you got a Most High problem. All right. And once again, that's a heavy penalty for those actions. Isaiah chapter 40, so like your 2 Chronicles 36, and verse 16. But they mocked the messengers of Adonai Yahweh and despised his words and misused his prophets unto the wrath of Yahweh arose against his people till there was no remedy. All right. So now that grace period is ended. That time that you misused, the time that you didn't hearken, all right, that you thought that you had ample amount of time. Now that we see that things is picking up even more and more, all right, eventually all this is going to crash down. There'll be no more looking up videos. Hey, what's the name of the Most High? Because why? Because they're going to be a time of famine. So that's the Most High, pretty much getting ready to bring that wrath and that judgment. And those are times that we are pretty much headed to. Okay. To there was no remedy. All right. Like the days of Noah. He was out there for 120 years prophesying. Okay. Then once he went into the ark and the ark was sealed, closed up, locked down, that's pretty much it. All right. You didn't take full heed of what was going on. Matter of fact, I got to grab that. Bear me 1 second. This comes to mind. So I can bear with me. Bear me 1 second. What's that at? Bear 1 second, see. Salaki, bear 1 second, put mine off. What's that? Yep. All right, this is the book of go to the book of Sirach, chapter 5. All right, because you are ultimately not to be putting it off. So it's just Sirach, chapter 5, and verse 7, and it reads, "Make no tarrying to turn to the outer one Yahweh, and put not off from day to day," because once again, ultimately, we don't know what tomorrow will bring. I'm gonna grab that real quick as well. All right, this is the book of Proverbs. So like James 4 and verse 14. "Whereas you know not what shall be on the morrow, for what is your life?" Meaning what? Ultimately, we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. So once you hear this word, you're supposed to, start getting yourself, spiritually in shape, getting yourselves ready. It is even a vapor that appeared for a little time, and then vanisheth away. All right, comes and what? It comes and goes. So Sirach 5 and verse 7, "Make no tarry to turn to the outer one Yahweh, and put not off from day to day, For suddenly shall the wrath of the Yahweh come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance. And that's what's coming. And perish in the day of vengeance. When you think that everything is all good, right? When you think that you don't have any worries, then ultimately, then the Most High what brings heavy judgment. Look at what's the dude name? Floyd Mayweather. All right, he even got money in his middle name. Now that guy was known for having a lot of money, right? Having a lot of riches. But now we see that but now we see he's having hardship. Okay, he's in debt. All right. So ultimately, that guy got to do what? Sell a lot of his properties and so on, so on. Okay, and you got many Jakes that has fallen to that lot, trusting in a damn trusting in a daddy Esau Edom. All right, really, they be hanging out with a lot of these small hats, big nose people, hairy knuckles, the ish peoples. Okay, that's what they be trusting in. But we see how that it always fails them. Why? Because ultimately you didn't come back and seek Yahweh Bashim Al Shah. And grab this. Once again, don't put off from day to day to serve the Most High. Bear with me 1 second. Yep. Let's go to the book of Luke chapter 12. Sorry, Luke 12 verse 15. Goofy shit, man. Goofy. Luke, I'm gonna grab some water, Slocky. Bear with me. Bear with me 1 second. All right. Hey, sometimes you gotta laugh, man. For real, it's crazy. All right, Luke 12 and should be 14. Should be 12. All right, Luke 12 and verse 15. And he said unto them, take heed and beware of covetousness, for a man's life consisted not in the abundance of the things which he possessed it. All right, there's more to it than just your riches, because we understand that what riches, as it says, have wings that fly away. All right, especially if you're a Jake and you look at yourself as being some great prominent person. All right, you're still in captivity. Those riches really are nothing. It's really crumbs. Okay, it's really crumbs. All right, but these riches, it does what? It will fly away. Okay, and we see how Jake always end up. There was an old comedian, real quick. His name was Red Fox. Okay, he was doing pretty good in the 60s and the 70s, probably even probably in the 50s as well. But the point was, in the latter around the 80s, he started catching hell, man. The RIS was after him. Okay, and they put a lot of hell on him. Why? Because ultimately, you're still in captivity. You're trying to have, a part of Esau Edom's rulership, which is this not your time to be really at the top. Okay. And he said unto them, take heed and beware of covetousness, for a man's life consisted not in the abundance of the things which he possessed it. And he spoke a parable unto them, saying, the ground of a certain rich man brought forth plentiful. And he thought within himself, saying, what shall I do? Because I have no room where to bestow my fruits. And he said, this will I do. I will pull down my barns and build greater. And there will I bestow all my fruits and my goods. All right, because ultimately a lot of these farmers be doing pretty good. All right, be doing very good. All right, they be ultimately rich. So this is Yahweh Shai using a story, all right, to pretty much sum it up of what happens when you think that everything is all good to go. All right, when you think that you don't have to pretty much seek him when you feel. When you think that you can seek him whenever you will. All right, that's not how it goes. Okay, once you hear it, pretty much it's time to start getting yourself in shape, getting yourself ready. And he said, this will I do. I will pull down my barns and build greater. and there will I bestow all my fruits and my goods. And I will lay to my soul, so thou hast much goods, lay up for many years. Take thine ease, eat, drink, and be merry. All right, and we see, a lot of our people are always continually in that mindset, never balancing it out. All right, ultimately, you have to be balanced out, man. Okay, you can't just always be in the mindset of always wanting to party. All right, of always wanting to be joyful. All right, everything has to be balanced out. All right, Con, yep. What's he snipes? Yep. What's Snipe with the prison for that too, if I'm mistaken, right? I don't know how much time he did to the brother Hananya. I think what Snipe did about, he was going for a little bit, yeah, but ultimately a lot of everything was seized. All right, so we see that, how a lot of Jakes always end up in a bad state, man. Okay, and a lot of these Jakes, they know exactly what's going on. Okay, they know that they are Israel, but they would never speak about it because they've been bought and paid for. All right, you can't be telling, because ultimately, if you say that you are a Israelite and you got these red people, all right, saying that they are you, then someone is lying, which ultimately is them, because they don't fit none of the curses, none of the prophecies, other than being a damn devil. Okay. And I will lay to my soul, thou hast much goods, lay up for many years, take thine ease, eat, drink, and be merry. Once again, a lot of our people, love to play. It says in the book of Exodus, should be 32, that they rose up to play. They always in that mindset of playing. Like the movie when Craig told Smokey in the movie Friday, all day long you up and down the street all day playing. That's Jake though. That's Jake to a T. Jake loves to play around. Jake loves to not take anything seriously. Okay, which is cool to, it's cool to laugh, it's cool to, joke around, but there's a time for everything, man. But Adonai Yahweh said unto him, thou fool, this night thy soul shall be required of thee. Then whose shall those things be which thou hast provided? So ultimately, who's gonna take your riches? Okay, you didn't come back to the Most High. Okay, you was in a mindset of always building. You was in a mindset of always building upon something that is going to pretty much be passed down. All right, you even got Jakes today that are that are in a circumcision, right? I forgot what camp. I don't know if it was HOI, and his name is Chief Ephraim up there in New York. He pretty much had a mindset. This is a couple years ago. He had a mindset of building. Had a mindset of building or taking land. I won't misquote the brother, but the point is in Atlanta. But then you out here preaching, saying that this place is gonna be burned up. So why you worry about building anything in Babylon the Great, aka America, that has already been prophesied to be burned up, right? So so having the mindset of like generational wealth, okay, that's all nothing. That's all vain. These other nations had that mindset, and Jake has already pretty much taken a hold of that mindset. When we out here preaching and out here on the streets teaching, there's pretty much us caring for our nation, okay? Because we understand that if the Most High, the Most High has a select number, all right, to come back and preach, a lot of our people is gonna be being reborn, all right. So that's that legacy, okay. But out of what y'all said unto him, thou fool, this night thy soul shall be required of thee. Then whose shall those things be which thou hast provided? So he that lay up a treasure for himself and is not rich toward out of one Yahweh, meaning what? You didn't do anything as far as serving Yahweh by Shemal Shah. Okay, you didn't build up those spiritual riches. Okay, as it reads in the book of Matthew 6 and 19. I'm gonna grab this real quick. Bear in 1 second. Bear in 1 second, come. Yep. Straight to the point. 1 Timothy, all right, 6 and verse 1 Timothy chapter 6 and verse 7. For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. All right. Hold on, grab that. Remember 1 second. I'm grab it in the grab it in NLT. All right, because ultimately, you know, we come to this world literally, as it says, you know, with nothing. So these riches that, you know, Jake loves to have is not going to go with you, as the Yahushua was given the parable. All right. So 1 Timothy chapter 6 and verse 7. After all, we brought nothing with us when we came into the world, and we can't take anything with us when we leave it. So if we have enough food and clothing, let us be content. All right. And be good with that. As Scripture says, give me neither poverty nor riches. All right. Ultimately, yes, we have to work. Yes, you know, Scripture says, use the world but not abusing it. Yes, we have to work. Yes, we have to do, you know, labor to sustain ourselves, but we're not trusting in our job. We're not trusting in some type of riches. Okay, because we understand that eventually, once again, all this is going to crash, and it's looking like it's very, very soon. So if we brought enough food and clothing, let us be content. So we have enough food and clothing, let's be content. But people who long to be rich fall into temptation and are attracted by many foolish and harmful desires that plunge them into ruin and destruction. And we see many, many examples of that. All right, using look how a lot of these celebrities had done all types of detestable things to receive a certain amount of riches, a certain amount of fame. All right, they got a thing called casting couch. Okay, look how P. Diddy got a thing called what? Freak offs. He was like the so-called gatekeeper, right? So he was doing a lot of, you know, nasty things, man. You know, to be a part of that lifestyle, to be a part of that world, as it's, and you got to do something very strange, man. But people who long to be rich fall into temptation and are attracted by many foolish and harmful desires that plunge them into ruin and destruction. And the ultimate great destruction is this place being burned the hell up. Okay, I may grab that in a little bit. Burn the hell up. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Now, money itself is a defense, right? But once again, it's what you would do for that money. Once again, they got a thing called casting couch. You know, you got Jake that do once again all types of detestable things for money. Look how a Jake, or look how people will become a paid hitman, right? A certain man, he'll pay you to go kill another person. That's wicked. Just for what, you know, just for money. So it's the things that you would do to obtain those riches, to obtain a certain amount of money. Okay? Selling drugs to your own people, which is a form of being like a, you know, which is really witchcraft. Because when you take drugs, that puts you what in a type in a that puts you in like a what you call that? An illusion state. All right. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, and some people craving money have wandered from the true faith and pierced themselves with many sorrows. All right, because ultimately, you know, people that always got the, you know, always got the mindset of getting a certain amount of riches, generational wealth, they always fall into a what? A bad state. Now we understand that, you know, ultimately, if we serve Yahweh by Shem Al Shai, true sincerity, most likely gonna keep yourself what? Sustained, man. Okay. That's something else in mind. All right, drop this. Read this again. 1 Timothy 6 and verse 9. In the latter, because it says that what? But people who long to be rich fall into temptation and are attracted by many foolish and harmful desires that plunge them into ruin and destruction. All right, which is ultimately going to what? The ones that really, the great destruction is going to be what? The lake of fire. All right, caused by the nuclear missiles. So if you love, you know, so if you're in the ways of joining America, all right, living it up, and they say I'm living my best life, okay, we're gonna see where that's gonna get you. So bear with me 1 second. Let me grab this. I'm gonna let that pass by. I already see it's coming. All right, let's see what time it is. All right, because what? It's a great discussion. Let's go to the book of Revelation at 16. Let's go to the book of Revelation 16 and verse 1. And I heard a voice, and I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels. Now them 7 angels go to what? A complete number of archangels. 7 just means completion. And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of Adonai Yahweh upon the earth. And the vials going to what? The judgment. The judgment that's going to be poured right upon Babylon the Great, aka America, with different plagues, the different the different calamities that's going to hit. He said, go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of Adonai Yahweh. Okay? That spoke about what? The angels. Now these angels are always in the midst, all right, doing the will of Yahweh B'Shem Al-Shah. You got what? Jacob's ladder in the book of Genesis 28 and verse 12. When Jacob had a ladder, you had Job 1. I'm gonna grab it real quick. Because the Most High said that what? Go out and pour out the vials. So this is the book of Job chapter 1 and verse 6, just showing that what? That the angels are sent to do the will and the bidding of Yahweh B'Shem Al-Shah, whether it be evil or good. So Job 1 and verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of Adonai Yahweh came to present themselves before the Yahweh, and Satan came also among them. Now these angels, these are actual the spiritual angels that are called what? The sons of God as well. Okay, just as we are. All right. Real quick, because you had Apostle John that kneeled down to an angel, and the angel said that pretty much don't do it because he's a servant as well. Okay. And the Yahweh said unto Satan, whence comest thou? They say answered the Yahweh and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And the Yahweh said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feared Adonai Yahweh and eschew evil? All right, but the point is, he said that what? Walking up and down in it. All right, walking to and fro in it. Okay, so the angels once again are doing the bidding of Yahweh B'Shem Al-Shah. So Revelation 16 in verse 2, and the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth. And once again, poured out his vial upon the earth. This is going into judgment. Okay, this is the Most High unleashing his judgment. Okay, and the Most High uses what? Angels, all right, to bring his judgment. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sword upon the men which had the mark of the beast. Now that noisome grievous sword going to what? That noisome goes to the missiles. All right, that that's going to hit a loud boom. Okay, that's going to hit Babylon the Great, aka America. And the men that had it says that and the men that which had the mark of the beast. All right, which really goes to what? The charagma. Okay, the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped it his image. Now his image goes to what? America. All right, when you pretty much worship the whole ways of America, Babylon the Great, you pretty much in league with this Western society. All right. And we understand that that beast, it goes into what? EU and NATO, which is pretty much what America sits on. Okay. And the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea. And now that sea, real quick, now that sea represents what? Men's. All right. Well, represents people, Slakia. Men's and women. Real quick. Said poured out his vial upon that sea, meaning what? Judgment upon the peoples. In the book of Revelation, chapter 17 and verse 15. Behold, Revelation 17 verse 15, to prove the point that the sea represents what? Peoples. Behold, I come as a thief. Red lettering, Yahushua speaking. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth it and keepeth it his garments. Now, you that watcheth it, meaning that what? Being a watchman. So pretty much you see what's going on and you go out there and report it. So you be like the true newsman. All right, you got different stations that have tell you about the weather and all of that. So we be the true reporters. All right, we're the true journalists. All right, tell you what's going on, tell you about the current events, tell you that according to prophecy, Yahweh said that this is going to happen. Okay. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he, Salakia. Revelation 17 and verse 15, Salakia. Speaking about the sea, Salakia. And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are peoples and multitude and nations and tongues. All right. So that sea represents what? People, multitude, and tongues. So different people. One big conglomeration. America today is like what? One big ass melting pot. It say, and he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, all right, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. So when it says about the angel pouring out, the vial upon the sea, once again, that sea, verse 17, verse 15, represents nations of people. Okay, right here, in America, you got conglomerations of all types of nations. Elam, East Indians, Arab, Ishmael, Moab, so-called Chinese, Amos, so-called Japanese, right? You got Chinatown, all this shit. So you got different, you got Ham everywhere. So, you got different nations right here in this place. So when it says sea or water, it just represents what peoples. And the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as the blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea. Meaning what? Judgment. All right. Now the ultimate judgment is going to be what? The missiles. And this is the Most High killing nations. All right. And 2/3 of our own peoples as well. Putting down the wicked. Putting down the disobedient. Real quick, let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 110, start verse 5. Okay. I'm going to read it again. And it became as the blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea. Just ultimately means what? Judgment. Judgment that had taken place by the way of, by the way of the missiles, which is the missiles are likened to the Most High's army as well. Okay, so this is the book of Psalms 110, verse 5 and verse 6. The Yahweh, it says, the outer one at thy right hand shall strike through kings in the day of his wrath. Because this is what righteous judgment from the Most High. All right, the Most High has a problem with this place. The sins of this place, according to Revelation 18, has reached it unto the heavens. Never had there been a kingdom as wicked as this place right here. The outer one at thy right hand shall strike through kings in the day of his wrath. He shall judge among the heathen. He shall fill the places with the dead bodies. He shall wound the heads of many countries. Meaning what? Many kings. All right. Many rulers is going to be put down. Many people. All right. Or many countries. So not only is America going to get hit with missiles, we're going to have Israel as well. Okay. So this place is going to be put down utterly. Never again will this place be inhabited ever again. So most I come and do what? Do a great takedown. All right. Hold on. I got another one. Okay, so let's read it again. He shall judge among the heathen. He shall fill the places with the dead bodies. He shall wound the heads of many countries. Shall fill the places with the dead bodies. There will be so many people that is going to be pretty much dead that, as Scripture says in the book of Ezekiel 39, I'm going to grab it, that shall seek out will continue employment. All right? Because someone got to bury these bodies, man. The birds going to be feasting as well. So that's what Yahweh Yahushua is coming to do. All right, so that's what Yahweh is going to allow for his son to do, man. All right, to pretty much have his way with the wicked. Ezekiel 39 and verse 12. And 7 months shall the house of Israel be bearing of them, that they may cleanse the land. You know that word 7 just means completion. So a certain time, a certain amount of time. Okay? It says, in 7 months shall the house of Israel be bearing of them, that they may cleanse the land. And all the people of the land shall bury them, and it shall be to them a renown the day that I shall be glorified, said the Yahweh, said the other one Yahweh. All right, so our land, the land of Israel, once again, is going to be hit with missiles as well. You're going to have dead bodies. Okay? So ultimately, we're going to have these heathens pretty much burying, the leftovers. All right? And they shall serve out men, of continual employment, passing through the land to bury with the passengers those that remain upon the face of the earth to cleanse it. All right, so we're gonna have a lot of employees. Okay, these heathens, their job is going to be, ultimately to work, to bury, to so on. Continual employment, passing through the land to bury with the passengers those that remain upon the face of the earth to cleanse it, because you still gonna have a remnant of heathens left to pretty much go right into captivity, which would be the prominence. All right, the top heathens today, like these banking families. Okay, the Most High technically is gonna allow them. It's gonna allow them to escape, that lake of fire, the missiles, but not for some advantage of them, but ultimately for them to be, working. All right, to be a servant, hardcore slavery. After the end of 7 months shall they search. And the passenger that passed through the land, when any see a man's bones, then shall he set up a sign by it, till the bears have buried it in the valley of Hamagad. All right, so ultimately, that's what's going to happen, man. All right, so the Most High going to do what? Pretty much, do a great takedown. All right, a great slaughtering. Okay. And just to prove it, and then gonna have what other nations that are gonna be pretty much, go right into captivity, bearing. Okay. Read a little bit more. Book of Revelation 16 and verse 4. And the third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and fountains of waters, and they became blood. And I heard the angel of the waters say, Thou art righteous, O out of one Yahweh, which art and was and shalt be, because thou hast judged thus. All right, so the Most High is what? Righteous in everything he does. All right, this is righteous judgment that the Most High pretty much kill our enemies. Okay, how's it going? Okay, bear me 1 second. This is the book of 2 Thessalonians, because once again, it's a righteous thing that the Most High is coming to what? Take down our enemies. All right, this is the book of, hey, shalom to the brother Ashrakah. It's like 144. Shalom Malak, Brakathum, you in your household, king. Yep, 2 Thessalonians chapter 1 and verse 6. Seeing it is a righteous thing without a one, Yahweh to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. All right, to them that trouble us. Once again, starting out with who? Esau, Edom. All right, on down to the rest of these heathens. Okay, so it's a righteous thing that the Most High is coming to do what? Utterly kill, man. All right, and that's exciting to hear that the Most High is gonna bring mass judgment upon our enemies. That's beautiful to hear. He said, once again, seeing it is a righteous thing without a one Yahweh to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. All right, so let me run this back, then I'm going to get into it a little bit more. Revelation 16 and verse 5. And I heard the angel of the waters say, Thou art righteous, O out of one Yahweh, which art and was and shalt be, because thou hast judged thus. So this is a righteous judgment. All right. This is a beautiful judgment that the Most High is coming to bring to our enemies, to Babylon the Great, aka America. Because this place right here will be the greatest deliverance and also the greatest the greatest destruction. All right, so just to back it up about this is what righteous judgment. Let's go to the book of Psalms 69, start with verse 21. Psalm 69 and verse 21. They gave me also gall for my meat, and in my thirst they gave me vinegar to drink. Let their table become a snare for them, and that which should have been for their welfare, let it become a trap. So your table just meaning, like a support. So them that trust in America, Babylon the Great, is going to be what? Like a trap. All right? Because you're trusting in something that has been already destined, prophesied to be destroyed. You're trusting in something that is marked for judgment that the world has never seen. And the reason I say that, why? Because nuclear missiles at this type of level, well, nuclear was used on Nagasaki, but for this place to be utterly destroyed, how's it going? But for this place to be utterly destroyed, this place has never been seen before. So we got the greatest deliverance and also the greatest destruction. Let their table become a snare before them, and that which should have been for their welfare, let it become a trap. All right, so once again, trusting in Babylon the Great, aka America, that's going to be a detriment unto these people. You trusting in something that is free falling, right? Because their king Donald Trump, that Edomite, that cracker, pretty much is he pretty much is going to bring down his kingdom, man, through the will of Yahweh Shem Al Shah, which is beautiful. He's playing no games. I've only been in office 10 days now, if I'm not mistaken, probably more than that. Let their eyes be darkened that they see not, and make their loins continually to shake, all right, not being able to understand. Pour out thy indignation upon them, that's anger. Pour out thy indignation upon them, that's the wrath of the Most High. And let thy wrathful anger take hold of them, all right, which is going to, which is ultimately going to be the missiles. All right, the fact that the Most High is going to allow for you to sit in those missiles is heavy, man. Because your body is pretty much going to be, time missiles hit, your body is going to be pretty much taken away. But the Most High going to have it where your spirit going to soak in them, it's going to soak in that lake of fire for a very, very long time, man. All right, that's heavy judgment. Pour out thy indignation upon them, and let thy wrathful anger take hold of them. Let their habitation be desolate, and let none dwell in their tents. For they persecute him whom thou hast smitten, and they talk to the grief of those whom thou hast wounded. All right, this is Esau Edom continually, putting on more and more judgment. Putting on more and more hell on Jacob, man. Okay, he never let off his foot off the gas, man. Continually beating our people. Okay. Matter of fact, I gotta grab that real quick. All right, this comes to mind. Should be Zechariah. So I can bear with me. Zechariah chapter 1 and verse 15. And I am very displeased, and I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease. For I was but a little displeased, and they helped it for the affliction. So this is, Esau Edom, all right? Started with Amalek, the Ish people, on down to the rest of these heathens, pretty much continually, beating Jake, never letting their foot off the gas, all right? Non-stop. Okay, you been oppressed. Jake's so messed up in the head, he don't even know that he been oppressed, man. Okay? He don't know when he's been disrespected. He's so used to being a damn slave that he can't even tell that that this is that you continually being beat down. All right? That's a damn shame. Read a little bit more. It said, verse 27, add iniquity unto their iniquity, and let them not come into thy righteousness. Let them be blotted out of the book of the living, and not be written with the righteous. All right, and who is that? Ultimately talking about the elect, them that was already preordained to be saved, to be beamed up in the chariots. So we got someone, being saved. That's going, you know, a lot of these Christians love to say, saved, I'm saved, I'm saved, but you can die. You know, tomorrow's not promised. You got ailments in the body. And saved from what? Ultimately, you know, being saved out of, you know, right in America, being saved what? Out of missiles, man. Right? Being what? Missile food. Okay? Being beamed up. All right? So I can grab this. Let's go to the book of real quick and grab this. So the book of the living is who? Them that was already preordained to receive salvation. Ephesians 1 and verse 4, straight to the point. According as he had chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, in him. Being what? Being part of the body of Yahweh Shai. All right, being what? Being ordained to be what? A believer. All right. Damn Edomite, Shalak Rayam to you. According as he had chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and without blame before him in love. All right, without blame. Who can lay charge to the Most High's elect? You got a problem with a man all you want, but the Most High has deemed that man to receive salvation. Hey, what can you say? All right, and I was laughing because that damn Edomite, you know, you could see how you wanted Trump to win, right? Which is cool, you know, because ultimately we understand that that's the will of the Most High, which is beautiful. And Trump is the one to bring down this play, you know, that's Tawad, that, you know, that's Shapah. But now that you see that Trump is not really doing shit for you, now they got this look of just, you know, sadness, look of, you know, just, you know, knowing that something is not right, which is great, okay? Because ultimately you see that deep down inside, your kingdom is done, man. All right? So I might grab a little bit more. Brother wants to grab a little bit more. Relish 16 in verse, let's read verse 6. For they have shed the blood of, it says, for they have shed the blood of saints and prophets, and thou hast given them blood to drink, for they are worthy. All right, this ultimately meaning what? Judgment. Okay, now the cup gonna be passed to you. Okay, not only are you gonna be beat down to powder, not only are you gonna be killed, slaughtered, but also you're gonna be reborn again and serve out punishment, serve out, you know, serve out to be a slave in our kingdom now. Now things are turned right side up. Now, we were the tail. All right, now we're gonna be the head. Now you the tail. Now you at the bottom. Okay. And I heard another, verse 7, and I heard another out of the altar say, even so out of one Yahweh Almighty, true and righteous are thy judgments. All right, this is what a just thing. This is righteous. So real quick, Odie but a goodie, Zephaniah 3 and 5. All right, say what? True and righteous art thy judgments. You know, you may have Esau come up to the camp, all right, come up to the altar and say, I don't think that's right. Or you may have a simple as Jake that may say, that don't sound right, that, you know, that the Most High is going to put these people in slavery. But it's all fine and dandy when we was in slavery, right? It was all fine and dandy when we in these ghettos and these barrios. But then you want to save Esau. Simple as hell. All right, simple as hell, man. It's a damn shame. So Zephaniah 3 and verse 5. The just Yahweh is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity. All right. Every morning doth he bring his judgment to light. He faileth not. But the unjust knoweth no shame. The just Yahweh is in the midst thereof. The Most High is in the midst of everything. All right. Everything. Even as it says in the book of Matthew chapter 10, a sparrow. A sparrow is a little bird. Even a bird cannot fall to the ground, meaning what be put to death, unless Yahweh has sanctioned. All right. So so everything is going by the Most High's will. Okay. Yep, the just Yahweh is in the midst thereof. He would not do iniquity. He would not do iniquity. So who is you to say that it's it don't sound right that you got the other nations going into slavery? Okay, it don't sound right that 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 the Most High is going to kill America. With all the rape, rob, kill, murder that this place has done. Every morning doth he bring his judgment to light. he faileth not, but the unjust knoweth no shame. All right, so so these people are what are in a continual way of being what lost, man. Okay, they don't know how to do right. All right. Let's see, I might grab a little bit more. Tad bit more. And it says, and the fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and power was given unto him to scorch men with fire. This is ultimately going to what? The missiles. And men were scorched with great heat and blasphemed the name of our one Yahweh. They are what? They are not going to repent, for the wicked shit that they have done, which have power over these plagues, and they repented not to give him glory. All right, so this ultimately the Most High will burn down these idols, burning down America idols, man, burning down America in general. Okay, the missiles, knocking this place off. Bring me 1 second. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 19. Whew. Let me start up a little bit. Yep, Revelation 19. Let's start at verse 15. Verse 19, verse 15. And it reads, and out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he shall smite the nations, and shall rule them with a rod of iron, and tread the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of Almighty Adonai Yahweh. And he have on his vesture and on his thigh. Now the sharp sword also go to what? The missiles. It go to the fire from the chariots. And they should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. All right. So there's nowhere in the scripture where it says in the kingdom of heaven that everyone is going to be all that everyone is going to be joined at the hand, kumbaya, right? Like that Martin King said, join the hands with these other nations. Nah, man. These other nations are going to be peasants. They're going to be what? Servants. And he have on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, and that's not literal on your thigh. Okay. I seen, you got people that get, in this camp, that get simple. It's about, talking about his garment. Kings of kings and Lord of lords. That's the Most High literally bragging, boasting, letting you know that, yo, I'm that dude. Letting you know I'm that dude. I'm the heavyweight. All right? Like how Jake, say that, yo, I'm that dude today. Hey, man, that's the Most High literally saying, yo, I'm him. All right? King of kings and Lord of lords. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great power. Now it's literal, all right? Because once again, you got a lot of dead bodies, as I just grabbed in the book of Ezekiel 39 from 12 on down. Stupid shit, man. I hate when they do that shit. But like I was saying though, now the fowls go to the birds. Now you got like vultures and stuff actually eat these dead bodies. All right, because you go to the book of Ezekiel 39, as I was saying, you're going to have so many dead bodies, all right, that we're going to have these heathens, as it's a continual employment to bury these bodies, man, okay? To all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great power, all right? And once again, you're going to literally have birds eating these dead bodies. That you may eat the flesh of kings. Okay? Hold on, spare me 1 second. Salakia. Yep, that you may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them. All right, that horses means what? Power. All right, so a lot of these guys that fought in the military, so a lot of guys in the military, they're going to be on a so-called main line, front line in World War III. Hey, man, you're going to be, a lot of you going to be bird food, man. Okay? Once again, it going to be so many dead bodies. Of horses and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. So regardless what position you are in life, regardless if you some type of top prominent person or you're just some regular person, regardless, a judgment is going to hit you. Okay. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies got together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. I saw the beast, that's EU and NATO. And the kings of the earth and their armies got together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. Now, horse here goes to like a horsepower, all right, which ultimately the chariots. So these other nations, they're going to stop fighting and pretty much try to make war with Yahweh Shai. When you go to the book of 2nd Ezra 13, the Most High got to put a spirit on them to fight. All right, because, they're going to pretty much bitch up. All right, which is, what it is. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet, like the Catholic Church, that worked great miracles, that worked miracles before him, that which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, talking about what, the charagma, all right, the sea hip, that received the mark of the beast, and then that worshipped his image, all right, and worship his image pretty much being in league with, the American way, the Western society. These both were cast into a lake of fire burning with brimstone, all right, cast into a lake of fire burning with brimstone. So this was coming to the ones that are disobedient, all right. Let's see what else I can get. So back to the book of Revelation 16. I'm gonna grab a few more before I get out of here. And men were scorched with great heat. Revelation 16 verse 8. And the fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and power was given to him to scorch men with fire, from what, the lake of fire. And men were scorched with great heat, and blasphemed the name of Adonai Yahweh, which had power over these plagues. All right, so once again, I said a little earlier that these missiles, all right, are what likened unto the Most High's army. We go to the book of Joel, chapter 2. Stupid shit, man. Which had power over these plagues, and they repented not to give him glory. All right, so they will be what not. So these other nations will not be what? Being sorrowful. All right, they still be talking their shit. So bring 1:7, grab that in the book of lay back more off that fire, man. All right, it's the book of Joel. I quoted. I'm going to grab it. And close it out. All right. It's the book of Joel, chapter 2 and verse 1. It says, blow you the trumpet in Zion. And that's exactly what, we are here doing. All right, Isaiah 58 and verse 1. Lift up your voice like a trumpet. Isaiah 58 and verse 1, right? Blow you the trumpet in Zion. All right, Zion means monument. Now, Jerusalem, all right, Zion, is like unto what? People, for it is a place. And sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Now, back then, in the ancient world, we would literally have like a ram's horn be blowing, let you know when something is not right. An alarm in my holy mountain, let that mountain, represents government, nation. So, ultimately we're out here to tell our people what is what. Tell them to, repent or perish. All right, to warn them, be the watchman. Tell them that, that the Most High is on his way. Okay? Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Yahweh cometh, for it is nigh at hand, is very, very soon. A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains. A great people and a strong, there have not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. All right, never had there been a day like what's getting ready, to come. All right, starting with Jacob trouble, and then and top it off, once again, with World War III, which would be the third woe. The book of Revelation, chapter 8 and 9 goes into that third woe. A fire devoured before them, and behind them a flame burning. Speaking about what? Those missiles. Okay. Those missiles, once again, are likened to the Most High's army. All right, so the Most High didn't just give, Teman, which are the Germans, all this, information just for them just to use it for nothing, but for ultimately, for ultimately for them to do what? To carry out his will. Okay? A fire divided before them, and behind them a flame burning. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, speaking about what America, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yea, and nothing shall escape them. All right, you're not getting away. Okay, you're going to have, as it says in the book of Verse 9, 200,000 missiles. All right, so you're going to have like, 200 million missiles, man, hitting this place. All right, the Most High is going to overkill this place. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run. So we got to understand when we read about horses and horsemen, they speaking, and they speaking the best way they could in those times. Term missiles and ICBM missiles, thermonuclear missiles, all of this, right? Those terms was not, being said back then. Okay. Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devoured the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. Before their face, the people shall be much pain. All faces shall gather blackness. All right, so people gonna be what? Said that way you have strong men. Did I jump off? All right, it said that that it's gonna be like strong men, with their hands on their loins, okay, in pain, hurting, all right, not knowing what to do, okay. That's why it said, I always quote Isaiah 33 and verse 6, that wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. Okay, because everybody else is gonna be running around, like the old saying, running around like like a chicken with your head cut off. All right, just moving around sporadically. All right, spazzing out, not knowing what to do. All right. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war. They shall march everyone on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks. Okay, they're gonna fly straight up, and then they're gonna fly straight up and over. All right, and pretty much hit their target, man. Okay, and it's pretty much once again, all right, like unto what the Most High's army. All right, so they're not gonna hit each other. All right, it's gonna do exactly what the Most High wanted to do. And the Most High is literally going to be guiding these missiles, man. Neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk everyone in his path. And when they shall fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. Okay? So this is once again, Joel, seeing this vision and pretty much saying like, nothing's going to stop, the wrath of the Most High. All right? And that wrath, he's going to use, which be the missiles. Nothing going to stop these missiles, the wrath of the Most High, at all. Okay, it's going to happen. They shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run upon the wall. They shall climb up upon the houses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief. The earth shall quake before them. The heavens shall tremble. The sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. All right, so this ultimately going to what? A big mushroom cloud, all right, blocking the sun, blocking the stars, and all of that. Okay, so what, this is what judgment. You will not be able to escape the judgment if you are deemed to, if you are deemed to be in the lake of fire, all right? Give me 1 second, grab this last one, I'm out. Okay. Bear me 1 second. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 39, and verse, see if I can find it. Make a quick point. All right, so anyone else that we was deemed to be put down by the sword, by the missiles, All right, that was ultimately their lot. So this is the book of Jeremiah 39 and verse 18 and verse 17 and 18. But I will deliver thee in that day, say the Yahweh, and thou shalt not be given into the hand of the men of whom thou art afraid. All right, so ultimately, now using it, for today's term, right? We are, the elect today will be what's saved out of the hand of the enemies. So during Jacob's trouble, all right, you have a certain number, a certain remnant that are going to escape the judgment that's getting ready to hit. For I will surely deliver thee, and thou shalt not fall by the sword. So the elect, all right, the 144,000 and the believers as well, ultimately would not be fall by the sword. Okay, and the great sword, speak about the missiles. All right, the elect would not take part in that death. That will be 2/3 of our own people in the 17 heathen nations. For I will deliver thee, and thou shalt not fall by the sword, but thy life shall be for a prey unto thee. But thy life shall be for a prey unto thee, because thou hast put thy trust in me, said the Yahweh. Okay, and the only one that putting their trust in Yahweh Hawashai is the elect. Now I'm gonna grab that in the NLT. So like you bear with me 1 second. Jeremiah 39 and verse 18 in the NLT. Because you trusted me, I will give you your life as a reward. I will give you life as a reward. All right, you will not have to take part of that second death. That second death is speaking about what? Taking part being in that lake of fire. The first death was the flood. All right, during Noah's day. Because you trusted me, I will give you your life as a reward. I will rescue you and keep you safe. I, the Yahweh, have spoken. And the only one that trusted it and Yahweh B'Shem Al-Shai was the elect. The only one that feared the name of Yahweh B'Shem Al-Shai was the elect. All right, and had this faith and this fear. All right, ultimately it has to be already in you. Matter of fact, to double down on that, you can't even make yourself fear Yahweh B'Shem Al-Shai. All this is a gift. See if I can find that. Sirach, let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 1, just to double down on the fact that, having the fear, the faith of Yahweh B'Shem Al-Shai, it really is a gift. Okay? So this is the book of Sirach, chapter 1, verse 14 is the point. I'm starting verse 11. All right? Sirach 1 and verse 11. The fear of the Yahweh is honor and glory and gladness and a crown of rejoicing. Okay? Now the elect is actually going to have a crown on their heads. All right, Yahweh Shai is literally going to take a crown, one by one, put it, on the heads of 144,000. The fear of the Yahweh make it a merry heart, and give it joy and gladness in a long life. All right, so that's the, the benefits and the reward of fearing Yahweh B'Shem Al-Shai. Out here on the highways and hedges, why? Because I fear Yahweh B'Shem Al-Shai. Continually, trying to do the will to the best of my ability. We're still in this flesh, continue trying to do the will of Yahweh B'Shem Al-Shai. Why? Because ultimately, that fear, not want to take part in that heavy judgment that's getting ready to happen to Babylon and Great, okay, aka America. The fuck? Yeah, the fear of the Yahweh make it a merry heart, and give it joy and gladness and a long life. Whoso feared the Yahweh, it shall go well with him at the last. So, that's the, so once again, so that's the benefit of fearing Yahweh B'Shem Al-Shai. All right, or truly fearing the names of Yahweh Shai. Understanding that the Most High is a king of terror. All right, the Most High is not something that you play with. When you read about these stories, every nation know about the story of Noah. Every nation know about the flood. All right, most religions, although they bugged out and shit, but most religions understand, most religions had the story of Noah. Muslims, I think, Catholics, all these different religions know about that the Most High flooded the earth. All right. So what has changed, from that time? Okay, the Most High still brings what? Judgment. And that mass judgment once again will be the fire. Whoso feared the Yahweh shall go well with him at the last, and he shall find favor in the day of his death. All right. And them that are going to find favor will be, the elect. And you may also have, certain men that are part of, that are part of the 144,000 that may be put to death. But it said that where is thy sting? Okay, because that's ultimately their lot. And you may have men right now that that are part of the number of 144,000 that may pass away. All right, but they're gonna be ultimately the first ones beamed up in the chariots. Okay. Here's the point. Verse 14. Sirach chapter 1 verse 14. To fear the Yahweh is the beginning of wisdom, and it was created with the faithful in the womb. All right, with the faithful in the womb. So it was already preordained for you to fear Yahweh Shema Shai. All right, it was already preordained for you to have the faith. All right, for you to ultimately, see the palms in your hands. The palms going to what? The victory. Okay. So that's pretty much the point right there. So grab a little bit more. Yep. So that's pretty much the point. All right, I'm gonna end it there. All right, I'm already facing the east. I'm gonna give all praises and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Raha, Hodash. Honors be to the elect elders of the nation of Israel that do labor, to the truth, all truth and sincerity. Shalom to you, Akim, your hopeful elect, on the highway and hedges, making your body a living sacrifice, according to Romans 12, verse 1. Shalom to sincere believers, which consist of men and women. Shalom, Brakatham, and Abba Babal, BTA. All right, another day on the highways and the hedges, man. Prophesy the downfall of this place, man. Ultimately, we're getting very, very close. All right, to being delivered, brothers. So stay, so I don't want to say, we stay fast in the truth. We stay steadfast in the truth. Be firm. Hey, shalom to the beloved brother, Kabashana. Shalom to Wabayullah. Shalom to all the Akim that hopped on, and to the sis. Shalom. Brakatham to you and your household. Shalom.